Hi, it's Wesley with Expandacraft. I want to show you something old and something new. This is my next door neighbor's boat. He actually put this one together. It is a triple 16, but it has a 4-foot beam, 3 of which are deckings. Now his deck has been sitting under a tree for, what, a year now? And then he ended up putting some wood here with some cleats on it. And if you notice, it kind of sticks out a little bit. That way, if he bangs up against a post or something, that this hits the post before the hulls do. And I wanted to show what I wanted to show you here. He's got the older style. Got a drain plug out here. Well, it's not actually the drain, it's a vent hole. This is not on the new hulls anymore. It's plastic welded. So we have a cutoff section. If you'll notice, underneath the motor mount, he's cut one of the parts, and you can buy these parts, but I don't actually shape them. I might later actually do a plug, but the plug is up to you. I just basically hack off one and mail it to you. And so if you buy one hull part, you can make 2 of those if you want a square stern on your Expandacraft. I am not going to mold it, because to make a mold for that would be about, I don't know, $110,000, $115,000 for a mold for something I don't sell very often. So anyway, that's what you can do, because he's got this one, a 3rd hull in the center. He's going to carry a couple of heavy lead acid batteries against my wishes. Well, anyway, it's just him, and he's going to put this motor on there and a big cooler up front. And come to the front, I'll show you. He's got 3 hulls, so there's plenty of volume in this boat. And it's still right slick through the water. Knock the bows off, and you can push this whole thing into the back of a pickup truck or any SUV because it fits between the wheel wells. You don't need a trailer. If you wanted to, you could take this thing down to its smallest pieces and put it inside a small SUV and not have anything sticking out of the back of your pickup truck. So you don't even have to have a pickup truck. A modest-sized SUV, not a big one. Something like a Honda CRV, something that size, you can put this in. The only thing that you have to worry about is the decking is an 8-foot decking. It's actually 1 inch short of 8 feet. And so you would either have to put that sideways through your truck or in between the seats, or rooftop, just that part. Again, the heaviest part that you're going to lift is one of the deckings, which is 16 pounds. That's the heaviest single part of this Expandacraft. And I wanted to show you this because I wanted to give this as an alternative to putting a one-sided outrigger on a kayak. Especially, I get a lot of you Hobie guys, that Hobie PA 16 or 14. It's a $5,000 to $7,500 kayak with the pedals, and then you put one of my one-sided outrigger kits and a motor on it. You're not going to use the pedals anyway. Not anymore. Not once you put a 2.5 on there. Maybe you're going to use it to get around, but you can actually still paddle this one, even being this wide. What you do is you use a stand-up paddle, but you sit down and do it. And yeah, it's not exactly the best stroke. If you make this a little narrower, and let's say you don't need as much capacity, you can do 2 hulls instead of 3, and still put a small motor on the back. You don't have to have this much volume for one person in fishing. You could do the same thing with 2 hulls. Make it a little bit narrower, and then you use the paddle sitting in the seat or standing, and put that collapsible paddle so that you can sit down and paddle, more like a canoe style stroke rather than a kayak style stroke. Canoe, you get the paddle more straight down than you do with a kayak, typically for the wider kayaks. So Expandacraft, instead of just an outrigger kit, a full-on Expandacraft only boat. And that is a whole lot less money than a $7,000 Hobie kayak plus an outrigger kit. Think about that, guys. I know guys love your Hobies, and they are great kayaks. But once you compare, another thing that you can do is you can go faster with an Expandacraft because they're so slick through the water. And you can take more wave action because of that wave piercing bow. It doesn't have that big front end with all that surface area for the wave to hit it, especially if you're quartering the wave. So if the waves are coming this way at an angle of 45 degrees, here these cut into the wave, they go under and through the wave until you get to something big where you shouldn't be out in there anyway. But we're talking 1 foot, 2 foot choppy stuff. You can go right through it with an Expandacraft. With a kayak, what happens is the wave grabs the front of that boat, pushes it sideways, and there's no amount of rudder that you can give it that's going to keep you from going over, because whoosh, over you go. Now, an Expandacraft outrigger kit will stop you from going over. But again, triple hulls, every single one of these compartments is a sealed air chamber. You'd have to do something really, really hard, bad to go down on this boat. If you're on a kayak with a one-sided outrigger, if you do develop a hole, a leak of some sort in the kayak can go down. And you will just be having one 12-foot outrigger to hold on to as you're hoping to get rescued. With this, there's really no chance that every single part is going to leak. I don't know, you'd have to have a shark come up and bite every part, I guess, but that's kind of silly. Expandacraft as an entirely stand-alone fishing machine instead of just an Expandacraft outrigger. Think about it and do the math, guys. $7,000 kayak requires a trailer and the outrigger kit for it to be as stable as just this. The 2-hull boat, you're looking at a $1,700 kit plus whatever decking. You can go 3 decks. I got this crazy bug. You can go 3 decks wide, 4 decks wide, or do any kind of decking that you'd like to build yourself. Expandacraft.com. If I haven't answered your question, type it in the bottom. If you like the idea, type me in a little something at the bottom. And if you hate this, tell me that too, because that's only going to drive the algorithms up. I love to hear you haters too. Expandacraft.com.